Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 71 of A Shot of Business Central and a Beer. I'm Michael Intravartolo, and as always, I'm joined by the man who knows Business Central inside and out and probably has a beer recommendation for every scenario in life, my good friend and co-host, Ken Sebahar. Ken, 71 episodes, can you believe it?
I really can't, Michael. Honestly, when we cracked open that first beer and hit record, I figured that we'd either get really good at this or we'd just keep drinking beer until nobody noticed. And, well, here we are.
And here we are, 71 episodes deep, a bunch of beer tasted, countless laughs, and a few bad takes, and, dare I say, some questionable beer choices, all part of the magic.
Hey, we've had some hits, we've had some misses, and I may still be recovering from that Trader Joe's beer disaster of 2020.
Yeah, that one lives in infamy for sure. But today we're putting the release notes and updates on the shelf. No breaking news, no tech demos, just two guys, a couple of cold ones, and a chance to look back on this wild, awesome ride.
And because we can't help ourselves, we're turning this into a competition. We've got a March Madness beer bracket ready to go. And by the end of this episode, we will have crowned the ultimate beer of A Shot of Business Central and a Beer. But first, we will have some major announcements to share with everyone.
So, whether this is your first episode or your 71st, grab a drink, settle in, and join us as we raise a glass, share some stories, debate some favorites, and, well, maybe toast to more than just the beer this time. Welcome back, everybody. Today we've got a pretty cool podcast. Ken was kind enough to go out and get us a bunch of beers. We got, 8 different beers, Ken? We're going to be doing a March Madness style tournament of beers.
Yeah, well, yeah, great to be here, Michael. Join you as always. It started off as a March Madness idea, right? The NCAA basketball tournaments, and originally the idea was I thought we would start with a Sweet 16 and work our way down to a champion, but just got a little scared. I'm going to be honest with you. And we pared it down to the Elite 8. We're going to start with an Elite 8 and work from 8 beers down to a champion.
But you did bring 16 beers, full disclosure.
I did, yeah. There's 16
full
beers.
Disclosure, yeah.
And as I'm looking at it, I'm saying, I think that might be a mistake.
Yeah, it might be just a little bit of a mistake. I mean, we don't have 8 hours and we're not as young as we once were, right?
Yeah, and these are 16 ouncers, so 16 times 16. I have that's a little too advanced, but I'm pretty sure it's a lot of beer in a short amount of time.
Yeah, 256 ounces.
It could get pretty ugly pretty quick. So we're just going to start with 8.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time, and then also we're going to be reflecting a little bit back on the last 6 years of the podcast. We started back in May of 2019, I believe. So we're going to be doing like top 5 beers, top 5 moments, segments, apps, guests, yeah,
overall
Lots
episodes.
of stuff we're going to reflect back on. It's going to be a
take a walk down memory lane, and
reminisce a little bit.
Yeah, see how far we've come.
Yeah, but before we get into all that good stuff, we've got some major announcements for everybody. The first one being Solution Systems. Well, we don't really make a lot of reference to Solution Systems on this podcast, but the podcast is brought to you by Solution Systems, who is, a technological Microsoft partner, ERP, specializing in Business Central. Solution Systems will be merging with Western Computer. If you know who Solution Systems is and you're a fan of Business Central, you obviously know who Western Computer is. Everybody at Solution Systems is really excited about the merger. It's going to bring a lot of different resources to the table for our customers, as well as some of the things that we do for Western's customers. So, for instance, our customers are now going to have access to more resources with Power Automate, Microsoft CRM,
enterprise products.
Yeah. So if you're outgrowing Business Central, and you want to look into F&O, we can bring you those capabilities. And on the Western side, we're going to be bringing a lot of our the way we just kind of how we do business and
IT services,
Yeah,
all the
managed services.
Microsoft 365, Office 365 infrastructure products that we do.
Yeah.
They don't do as much. So I think there's a lot of synergies, and very similar businesses,
Mhm.
and a bigger, better team.
Yeah, and one of the good things is it's good in the eyes of Microsoft, right? Yeah, I don't think it's any surprise that Microsoft is starting to look past a lot of these smaller partners out there. And they want to deal a little more with larger partners. So the coming together of these two organizations will really help us get in front of Microsoft and help our business to expand and grow over umpteen decades. Let's put it that way. So yeah, we're very excited and looking forward to helping our customers even more. I mean, Solution Systems and Western were really about customer satisfaction. We really enjoy helping our customers and bringing everything that we can to the table to help them grow and succeed. So, but that's announcement number one. I'm going to pass over to Ken for announcement number two.
Yeah, number two, my big news is that I will be stepping away from my role and stepping away from Solution Systems. My path still TBD, as they say. So not quite sure exactly where I will land, but it's been a glorious 23 years plus that I've been here. Been basically helping implement Business Central, Dynamics NAV, and Business Central all these years.
Yeah.
So it is what I do. I will continue to do work in some capacity related to Business Central. I don't know again how or where, but that will be something that I'll figure out in short order. In the meantime, if you're looking for some of my crazy, witty banter or commentary, for better or worse.
Absolutely. For
Um,
better, come on.
I think I have been managing a site called Speaking Business Central for the past about year and a half. There's a Business Central terminology guide that I wrote and developed and put online for everyone, particularly new users who need to get used to the new terminology. And I've also been posting blog articles about various topics on that site. I'll probably, get a little bit more active on that site
Yeah.
to kind of, share some of my Business Central related tidbits.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. And for those of you who want to check out Ken, he said the site is Speaking Business Central, but so the website, I believe, is speakingbusinesscentral.com, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So go on there. Anybody who's worked with Ken knows Ken has a ton of knowledge, whether it's from, like I was telling him earlier, NAV 2.0 to the most recent versions of Business Central. Get on there, interact with him, check out his blog posts, comment, share them, all that good stuff, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. And that kind of leads us to our third and final major announcement for today.
3-in-1 podcast.
Can you believe
what is
it?
going on?
You're getting you're getting your money's worth today.
Yeah.
The third piece of news, bittersweet, I guess I would say, is this will be our last episode together of a shot of Business Central and a beer.
The last one. I think it's well, technically, so I was going through it. It's number 71 for episode 71, but we did have some other episodes where we didn't count them as actual episodes of what we did because it didn't follow the same formats.
Right.
Whether we're interviewing somebody, special things,
special
yeah.
podcasts.
I think we're probably at about 74, 75 right around there. So, but it's been a wild ride.
It has been. It's been a super active 6 years in the Dynamics NAV Business Central world. And I feel like we were like sitting in the front car of that roller coaster.
Yeah.
Right?
Podcast started right when Business
leading
Central
the way. It's like, here we go. Buckle up. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it's been great. And I think there's going to be many more successful years for Business Central.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, so all right, those are the three biggest pieces of news.
Yeah, I'm getting thirsty here. Let's crack some beers. Let's start this March Madness
Sounds good.
Welcome to March Madness, Business Central, shot of Business Central beer style. So here's what we're going to be doing here, people. We have 8 beers. We've tried to match them up based on, we have eight different types of beer, I should say. We kind of try to match them up so they're kind of similar.
Yeah.
You know, beers, 2 medium beers, 2 dark beers, right, as much as we kind of could. And we're going to do a matchup. Each of us, we're going to drink the first beer. We'll each give it, assign it a number of stars, a half a star through 5 stars. Okay. You can go in half-star increments if you'd like. And then after we've each tasted both of them and shared a little bit about each of them, we will then share our scores. And whichever beer gets more stars, that beer will advance into the semifinal round.
Okay.
And then once we're done with that, we will share, we each have prepared a top 5 beer list, all-time podcast. So this is going back, I think we've each drinking like 80 beers or something over the course. So we each kind of pick 5 that are noteworthy or memorable, our top 5s that we'll share. So we started. First, we're going to be starting off with a beer called Round of Margs, like Pipeworks Brewery, which is a sour ale with lime, orange peel, and salt. So kind of like a margarita, I guess.
Yeah.
Is the
a little bit of a description
kind of
it is.
Theme there. So I'm just going to pour not quite 16 ounces into my glass.
I'd say it's about 8.
So it's very very light and hazy. Smells sour.
Ooh, it does smell kind of sour. All right, first sips on.
Yeah, it is a little bit sour.
Sour too.
Not as sour as I thought. I've had like other
sour
beers.
I think you brought in one time sour.
Yeah, we've had some Destil, I think was a sour. I don't know how I know that.
So it's a light beer though.
Very light, and I think refreshing, right? Like that dry. It has kind of the sourness, kind of gives it like a dryness.
Yeah.
So it's kind of refreshing.
Am I seeing things here? Does it have a little bit of a green tint to it, or is it just me because they refer to it as lime and the can's green?
Maybe. I don't know. I think it's just a light yellow haziness. So.
All right, so between, what are we doing? 0.5 up to 5 stars, right?
Yeah.
First ones are always hard because you're setting the bar for everything else.
Right. Yeah. But I'm just trying to think like in terms of my drinking this and liking this.
Tell you what though, for a sour beer, it's not that bad.
No.
You know what I mean?
Nope. All right. And competing against the Pipeworks Round of Margs in round 1 is a beer called Soar from Hop Butcher for the World Brewery.
It's a good name. You better live up to it.
So what do we got here? What kind of beer is this, Michael?
So it's made using Wakatu hops, whatever that is. 4.75% alcohol, so a little bit less than Round of Margs. Round of Margs was 5%.
Very different odor.
Everything really. Let's see what we got going on here. Ken's got the first pour in. I'm getting my pour in. That color though, pretty close in color.
Ooh, I can taste that. What'd you say? What kind of hops were those?
Wakatu.
I can taste the Wakatu hops. Can you taste that uniqueness?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What is that? I'm trying to place what that smells like. Like wood?
It smells like
wood or something?
I don't know. I'm not getting any strong notes for smelling.
Is it horse blanket?
Horse blanket? Hay blanket? It's interesting though because these are two different styled beers.
Right.
Right.
All right.
I think, yeah, we might be walking into a problem here.
Our rules. Oh, I do want to share. I forgot a couple of rules. So we're each going to give
Rule number one, you can make rules up as you go.
We're gonna yeah, we rule on what we may change the rules as we go. We haven't thought this out too well. No, let's say we both we give a number of stars and there's a tie. So in that case, the standard rule will be that we will flip a coin.
Yeah.
To see who advances. However, each of us gets one opportunity to auto advance the beer of their choice.
Okay.
Like if they have strong feelings for that one,
You take your turn.
they can say, all right, I want this one to
They're
advance.
throwing the challenge flag.
The challenge flag. Yeah, there you go. And you get only one.
It's going to be interesting though, because
those.
we do have different palates and different like styles of beers that we like. All right,
Yeah.
I'll go first. All right, let's start with Hop Butcher. Actually, no, I'm sorry, Piperworks, Round of Marks. This being the first one we drank, I had to give it a solid 3. Kind of in the middle. Where am I going to go for? Right? What do you do?
Exact same story for me. So 3 plus 3 equals 6.
Yeah. Now, Hop Butcher, I got to give it a 2.5. Right? I like it, but I kind of think I would rather have whatever mood I'm in today. I would rather drink the Round of Marks. So now, if you gave it a 3.5,
I did, which I did.
I don't know. Do we have a coin?
I don't even.
We can flip a cup. We can flip a cup.
Here, I got a coin. All right. We are off to a flying. We're off to a flying start. I did indeed give Hop Butcher for the World Soar 3.5 stars. So we do indeed have a tie at 6. I do not want to use my challenge on this one. So we're gonna go heads is Pipeworks.
All right.
It is heads.
Oh, Pipeworks wins.
So Pipeworks Round of Marks moves on. So you got your beer.
First one, hilarious.
You got your beer there. All right, we're gonna have another matchup coming up soon, but before we get to that matchup, let's start our journey down memory lane.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
And let's go back in history and talk about our top 5 beers. We've each put together a list of our top 5 beers. Why don't you, Michael, start?
Kick it off,
you want to start it? Do you have them ranked like in a specific order, or
let's see, rating,
any
rating.
order?
Almost.
Okay.
I can put it in order.
I'm going to start on
Best
the
to
bottom.
worst.
I'm going to start with my number
starting at
5
the
and work my way up to my
Okay.
number 1.
So my number 5. Now, I didn't want to sit there and go through and say, oh, I'm just going to take the top 5 greatest beers because, if you've been listening to the podcast, I looked at the list and I'm like, you know what? What are these looking at these top 5 beers, which ones do I want to try right now? Which ones are just appealing to me? So number 5, Samuel Smith's Oatmeal Stout.
Okay. Yeah.
According to what I said in the show, I said perfect combination of sophistication and comfort, and we both agreed on it. That was one of the best beers at that time to close out on.
All right, good one. Well,
yeah,
starting with the darks. I like it.
Something different.
All right, my number 5 is Carlsberg Danish Pilsner. I definitely enjoyed it. It's delicious, 94 out of 100 ranking. But I also appreciate it as a special shout out to all of our Danish NAV and Business Central friends, right?
Which we have a lot.
Copenhagen, right? We've had some guests on.
And guests, yeah.
Delicious beer, and a little shout out to the roots of Business Central.
Nice. All right, number 4 for me. And this is one of those beers where we tried it and my rating was decent, but it's just one of these beers where I just, every time I look at the list, I'm like, I want to try it again. It is the Milkshake Maui Pineapple from Energy City Brewing.
Yeah.
I gave it a rating of 82. I thought it was really good. It's just one of those beers where, you know what, judging by the name of it, and then when I tried it, I was like, oh, I had mixed reviews at first. Yeah,
because they use lactose as their sugar.
Right.
That's why they give all those the milk. Milkshake.
Yeah. So I had a bad feeling going into it, and then when I tried it, it surprised the hell out of me, and it's just something I always want to try again.
That is one I've always wanted to try also.
Again,
that you mentioned that, because it was very early on.
It was, yeah.
And I think I was curious if we drank it now, what we would rank it, you know. All right, my number 4 is actually it's my official non-beer favorite. So we drank over the course of all these shows. We've drinking a lot of non-beer drinks, right? Ciders and
non-alcoholic beer,
cocktails and things like that. So my favorite one, highest rated one, was grapefruit high noon.
Oh,
so high noons, pretty popular, pretty tasty drinks. So that was my non-beer favorite.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't throw in a non-beer. Just for the record, though, I rated. I don't know if I talked about the Milkshake Maui Pineapple 82. So number 3 for me, and this is going to be kind of boring for everybody, but it goes along with my thing of where I rate beers, how I drink. I drink it on a hot summer day, right? So I've said it's definitely a summer beer to me. I've said if I'm sitting outside on a hot sunny day, perfect. If I had to pick something that's summery, right? We'll take this 100-degree weather, I'll pick this beer, and the list goes on and on. All different episodes we'll put in the show notes. So this one, number 3, Leinenkugel's Summer Shandy. I gave it a rating of 88. And according to my notes, I consistently refer to it as my go-to summer beer. As one of the first craft beers I probably ever drank in my life.
There you go. It is a delicious beer. I will give you that. As opposed to my number 3, which is not a delicious beer, which was the Trader Joe's Providential Golden Ale. Most memorable to me for its highly insulting flavor.
The murder of 2020.
I don't know, and I don't know if people, probably not many people, but maybe there's a couple out there that are familiar with Rhinelander beer. Obviously made up in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. Just like when all there was left when I was younger and you were at a party and there's all kinds of beer, if there was just Rhinelander left in the cooler, the party was over. I felt like the same way about Trader Joe's Providential Golden Ale.
Yeah, you could be drunk enough to drink either one of those beers. That's a problem.
I could be.
Yeah, the Trader Joe's beer. I mean, that was, it's funny because I think I had higher expectations for that beer than what I thought.
Yeah.
And then when I drank it and you drank it, I was like, no.
I think so too, right? Like a company's creating their own beer. Like you're putting your name on it.
Right, some effort and but it wasn't good. All right, getting into my number 2, probably I can't remember on the list, but it might be my second favorite beer, Corona with a lime.
Sure,
had to do it. Yeah. I gave it a rating of 94. Of course, even it's funny looking back. I've got notes. I called it one of my favorite beers that reminds me of summer.
Summer, hot day.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, right on track for you.
Yeah, 94 though, buddy.
My number 2 is the Trappist Roquefort 10. So this was a beer. It's special, and it made the list specifically because we drank it at 9 o'clock in the morning, our time, due to a scheduling issue, and we had special guest Soren Alexanderson on, who was joining us from Europe.
Yeah.
And so that was a beer that he enjoyed also. So we rallied and found some of it locally here. And at 10% ABV, let's just say it ended up not being a particularly productive rest of the morning for me.
Yeah, For you, Ken, you start out light in the morning. Come on now.
Yeah,
10%.
breakfast beer.
10%. Unbelievable. Soren's second beer choice was Blue Moon, which I thought was really good too. It's been a while since I had it. All right, my number one, I had to go with it. It's my favorite beer. We've tasted a bunch of beers. It's still my favorite beer. It's definitely my favorite beer to drink on a hot summer day. Modelo Especial. I gave it a rating of 99, and that rating still holds true. And I give it 100 because maybe there's something out there that'll wow me one day. But Modelo Especial, it's got to have a lime. Got to have a lime.
Over Corona.
Yeah, over Corona, yeah. They're close though, right? They're super close. But yeah, Modelo, I don't know what it is. It's just something
good,
I love.
It's good beer. Number one beer in the United States, I hear.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I'm going to go with, and this is this one, no surprise to some people, maybe. Three Floyd's Zombie Dust. American Pale Ale. I would say after over 100 beers over 6 years that we've had. I'm counting today, by the way, in that 100 beers since we're throwing another 8 onto the list. Still the number one beer that we drank, and kind of number one on my list here.
Still number one
of these, yeah. So
okay. Well,
it's not my everyday beer. Remember, all day IPA is
Recently,
my everyday beer. And there's also other beers I like on different occasions, like maybe a hot summer day.
Yeah.
or a cold winter
But if you got a cooler of all day IPA and a cooler of Zombie Dust, you're grabbing a Zombie Dust, right? If you can buy them.
That's interesting. So that particular scenario, I got a whole cooler full of them.
Yeah.
I might go all day IPA because the alcohol content is less, but you still have good flavor. It's more about like I go to a bar and I'm only going to have one beer.
Zombie Dust.
And Zombie Dust on the list. That's what I would probably go for when I'm only going to have one.
Yeah. I don't remember Zombie Dust being too high with alcohol, although it was.
I think it's 6.7.
Yeah. Oh, so it is
6.5 or 6.7. Which again, it's right in my good target range there. Now it's below 7, but yeah, so there's our top 5 beers. All right, next we're gonna be going through our next round of beers, and then following that up with our top 5 episodes.
All right. Back for matchup number 2, I guess.
Yeah,
we're going to start out drinking Dovetail Brewery Pils, which is, let me see what we got here. Oh, not too much, 4.7 alcohol count, so we can deal with that. That's in your wheelhouse, right?
Yeah, German Pilsner, 4.7%, sounds great. Although it's kind of confusing because this Dovetail Brewery in Chicago, Illinois, they make a Pilsner also. So there's Pils and the Pilsner.
Which we don't know what this is.
So this is not, it says this is not quite German style, not quite Czech style, but 8 years in the making. So yeah, I should enjoy this, I would think here. So let's go ahead and take a little.
Here we go. Smells good.
Yeah, pretty light, relatively bland, I think, compared to the last 2 we had.
Yeah, oh,
we should have
really bland.
Maybe should have matched this one up against that sour.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe next round. Who knows?
Head to head.
Who knows? All right, we got to rate this bad boy now, right?
Yeah. Michael, during the last thing you had mentioned that you were reviewing everything and you noticed that you kept saying like, oh, this beer would be great on a hot summer day.
Absolutely.
So what is it exactly? Will you please share with everyone what it is exactly that you were looking at where you saw all these references to a hot summer day?
All right. So what I did is, so Ken and I, so we can go back and maybe save ourselves a little bit of time trying to find different little bits and tidbits from each episode. I created a GPT model and I went through and I took the transcript from every podcast episode that we did. and I just loaded the transcript, not formatted, not edited, into the GPT model so that we can actually ask it questions, and hopefully the GPT model will pull some information from the transcripts. I quickly noticed when I did it. So what I did was it was pulling from the wrong episode because I had put episode, the numbers below each transcript as opposed to above. So when I was first going through, I'm like, oh, come on.
Oh, you couldn't find the reference.
It was pulling it from the wrong. Yeah, it was saying it was from a different episode. Yeah. So,
okay.
As anybody knows, GPT models take a little bit of time and
Training.
They call it engineering, engineering the model so that you can teach it how it is. But hey, I was able to pull some things from it and some timestamps to where I can actually later on will, play for you.
So I may have the terminology wrong here, so please correct me if I've got this wrong. But just to make sure everyone's clear, you created an AI chat bot
agent, whatever you
agent,
call it. Yeah, model. Yeah.
AI model
names. Yeah.
specifically for a shot of Business Central and a beer.
Yeah, so if you go on the Chat GPT store or whatever it is,
Chat GPT store.
Yeah,
this is what I was getting at.
Yeah, you can actually. I made it public so anybody can go in there and ask it questions about the podcast. We'll put a link into the show notes. Now, take it with a grain of salt how accurate it's going to be. I didn't put a lot of time, like I said, into training it or engineering it, whatever you want, but it's out there for anybody to go.
But this is out there. Someone can, what do? You subscribe to it, you download it, you install it?
No, it's you, even with your free account to ChatGPT, you go there and you can on the left-hand side bar, click, I think it's called GPT store, maybe, and your GPT model store, click it, and you'll see all different models. Just search for.
And what's this one called?
A Shot at Business Central and a Beer podcast. I made it simple. So just search for that and you'll find it.
That is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
I wish I would have did it earlier in the podcast.
Right? Like now you come up with this?
And then we could have actually had time to train it and it would have been
right.
It would have been pretty cool.
Oh my goodness gracious.
But even asking questions about what had assemblies versus production orders, where you know what I mean?
No, that's fantastic. So I'm gonna definitely connect with that sucker.
Whatever.
So I have a
Ken's enthusiasm for AI never wavers.
For it. I'm gonna plug into that sucker. Hook up to it.
Scream how inaccurate it is.
I'm gonna
text me all hours of the night. This is garbage.
Okay. All right.
What do we got next?
Okay. So you assigned a score for the Dovetail pills. All right. Next we have, and I think you did the Dovetail just because you wanted to make me say this.
We're saying a lot better.
Next is the Van Hansebroek Castile Wit wheat beer.
God, if you put the emphasis like
Van
Hansebroek.
Van Hansebroek.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like offensive or something, but like that's like I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds way cooler.
I was just gonna
say. Doesn't it sound
when you put it on it? Yeah, it sounds a lot better.
When you say it with an accent, it sounds way cooler than
it's
my Chicago accent.
If you take it for what American, you're a what? Van Hansebroek, maybe? I don't know.
Brook. It's the Van Hansebroek.
Yeah.
Like that's my Chicago.
Yeah.
My Chicago accent? No.
It doesn't have the same.
The German would be much better.
And I've got high hopes for this, right? German's pretty well known for beer.
It's a wheat ale. Sorry.
Oh, that's right.
Wheat ale. And this one is a fresh wheat beer offering an aroma of citrus notes and freshly grated ginger.
Ginger. You a ginger guy? I'm not a ginger.
No, not with like my sushi. You mean like that's like
what, your women?
Sushi, like I don't like they put this ginger on there. No, I love wasabi.
Really? A lot of wasabi?
Yeah, a lot. Like
so I got
fired up your head.
Right, I got a funny story.
Wasabi.
I grew up kind of in a bubble, let's say, right? Only ate Italian food. So I never tried like sushi or wasabi until I was probably 22 years old. And I'm sitting in this restaurant with my buddy Dan Lepresti. Shout out to Dan. And I'm like, what's this green stuff? He's like, oh, it goes with your sushi and your salmon or whatever. He's like, take a spoonful. I was like, no problem. I took a spoonful of it. Oh my God. It was like instant fix for your whole head. It was crazy.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. This beer seems to have a lot
different.
going on.
Yeah.
It says that the taste is superbly balanced between the zesty citrus, spicy ginger, and biscuity maltiness. A harmonious blend of sweet, sour, and spicy flavor topped with coriander and lemongrass for a crisp, dry, and refreshing finish.
It reminds me of a holiday drink. Maybe because of the ginger, or but for some reason I keep getting like notes of cinnamon, which is weird. I don't know why. Reminds me of like holly leaves, but interesting.
All right.
We've got to,
The scores are in.
yeah.
All right. For the Dovetail Pilsner, this was kind of right in my wheelhouse.
Really?
Kind of really enjoyed it. Delicious beer. 4 stars.
Oh, wow.
Well, how about, what do you got?
2.5.
2.5. All right. So we got
Had an aftertaste to it that I'm not a fan of.
like a biscuity.
Yeah,
ready.
Yeah. A stale bread,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these. So this is like the third one. So the Von Hansbroek wheat ale. A lot of these are like I think 3 of them so far, kind of like very similar. The Round of Margs and the Soar,
Yeah,
and this one very light, crisp,
Yeah.
dry finish, like refreshing. So I'm going kind of in line with those 3 stars.
All right. Yeah, so I agree with you. Light, crisp, refreshing. I'm so far I'm kind of in the same ballpark with everything. I gave this a 3.5. 3.5 stars.
You did not.
Right. 3.5.
Looks like what we have here
Oh, it's in a tie again.
is a tie again. All right.
Jesus. We're so different yet so similar.
Just let's just let fate go. So we have another tie. We're 2 for 2 on ties. Our scoring system clearly sucks.
Yeah, we should have probably not just stuck with a half. We should have been everything, right?
Down to the 100th.
Yeah.
Down to the 100th place.
You're not using your challenge flag for any of these?
I'm not gonna. I thought about it.
Did you?
Thought about it. I was thinking about
for your
saving the
pill?
Dovetail pills, but I don't want to use it yet because I feel like there's a point in time where you may stick me with like an offensive beer. So I'm gonna go. Here we go.
Wait.
It's heads. Heads was the first one, and it is heads. So Dovetail advances.
All right, Dovetail advances.
See, I didn't use my challenge,
and I got what you wanted.
Still ended up with Dovetail advancing. I took a total gamble right there. Give me some credit for that gamble. That was huge. I put it all on the line right there. You don't even know.
10 seconds left. You're not in the semifinals yet.
You don't even know. All right. So let's talk about
unique
as we're drinking these. Yeah, enjoy. We're gonna continue enjoying these. The Von Hansbroek.
Yeah, I've got to say it's a unique beer, right? There's no bitter aftertaste whatsoever.
You know what throws me off on it is that it's called a wheat ale, not like a wheat beer. Like when ale kind of denotes like a little bit of darker,
and it's
more like bready, malty.
Nothing,
but there's none of that in here. So it was a nice, pleasant surprise.
Interesting.
All right, so we're gonna now share our top 5 episodes with everyone. So I'm going to start us off with an episode that we had not too long ago. It was special guest Rob Hallberg joined us from BMO Bank.
That's your number 5?
Yeah. So this I don't know.
Let's see why I'm laughing. Let's see.
This was a rare opportunity, which I think in hindsight now, I wish we would have done more of this, where we had, first of all, not only a great friend of mine, good guy, all around great guy, join us and have fun with us here, but he provided everyone and all of us really with like an external viewpoint on how ERP is looked at and evaluated from a banker's perspective, maybe when making financing or lending decisions, and like also like what specifically would make Business Central shine in this type of environment.
Yeah, completely agree. So my number 5, episode 62, interview with Robert Hallberg.
Man.
I'm dead honest. Yeah, I thought it was, it was unique, right? He brought a different perspective. I thought it was something that not a lot of people think about when they're having to maybe get lending for Business Central or their business, whatever it is. And he brought in one of the more funny sounding beers that we've had. It was like a Schnickerdoodle or something like that. Yeah.
He certainly couldn't say it correctly.
Right. And that's the only reason why he brought that beer in, was because every time he said it, he laughed.
Plus a 12-pack of Miller Lite just as a backup beer.
Well, he's just, he knows what you like
to drink once we're done, which is also nice.
Yeah, if you bring in 2 beers, you're making the list, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna go. My next on the list for me is the episode where we had Mark Hike join us, and we had head-to-head MRP cage match.
Man,
sharing,
would have been proud,
battling it out for best practices and MRP, using MRP in Business Central. And also what I particularly enjoyed about that episode was you serving as judge and clearly recognizing that my suggestions were superior to Mark's suggestions.
I think Mark would maybe disagree. If I remember correctly.
Well, Mark's not here, so I guess he has no
he
ability
can't defend himself.
Yeah.
His loss. All right, my number 4, episode 23. It's when we had the Avalara team in the office. We went on the lunch before. Good group of people came back. We drank a couple different types of beers. And I think that might have been the most people we had in the actual office for a podcast. So that was a good time. Had a lot of fun. A couple memorable quotes. We'll probably talk about that later.
Yep. All right, mine, and I apologize, I forgot to put the episode numbers on here. That's okay. One of my I'm gonna go number 3, I guess, for me, is the episode where we had Mike Morton join us, the Microsoft general manager for Business Central. Joined us, shared his role at Microsoft and what he does on a day-to-day basis, and also his vision for Business Central. And also shared with us that although not a huge beer fan, his go-to cocktail of choice was the sidecar.
Yeah. And I did have a chance to actually have a sidecar after that episode. And I'll tell you what, that's a pretty strong drink.
Pretty good stuff, huh?
Yeah, so if he's drinking that, he likes a little bit of alcohol here and there. All right, my next one was episode 12, and it was the quarantine episode. It's just memorable to me because it's the first time I'd ever been in like that type of situation where being quarantined or whatever. It was the first episode we did where we were not in office.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was kind of memorable, and I think it always sticks out in my head because when I created the image for the podcast, I put us behind bars.
Just to correct me if I'm wrong, was that was not one of them we redid? Was that not that? Was that
that might have been that one? No, that might have been that one where we recorded it and then
we had technical difficulties and we re-recorded the majority of it. Yeah,
that's right.
I remember that.
We're rookies at being remote like that.
Yeah, I think you had a Jack and Coke during that episode, and I had a Miller Lite.
Yeah,
is all I had in the fridge.
Yeah, you made it to the beer store, right? Covered head to toe in your.
Not quite. I had to suffer through a Miller. I mean, not suffer through, but that's all I had. I had very limited choices at that point.
Yeah, because we were on total lockdown at that point.
All right. This is a little bit of a gamble here, but I'm already willing to throw this in there. Episode 71.
Oh.
This episode.
Yeah.
as it's going on.
It's going to be up there for sure.
8 different beers reflecting on
Yeah.
all of these fun times that we've had.
Major announcements.
I'm throwing it onto the top 5 list right now.
It would definitely make the top 5 list if we did it after this episode. Absolutely. All right. So I think we're at number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 8 to me, the first Christmas special we did with Jim Geo. It was still early on. Was it pre-COVID?
Yes.
Right before pre-COVID? When we started in 2019.
Yeah, right
A couple
before.
months right before
Yeah.
pre-COVID. Yeah. So we're still together. We had some drinks, some laughs, reflected about things we were grateful for. And who knew that would be like a tradition going forward for the next 4 or 5 years with Jim coming in every year. So
yeah. And boy, our lists are kind of similar. I'm going with a little bit of a different twist on that. I'm saying that my number 1 favorite episode was all of the Jim Geo holiday special episodes, because I couldn't pick one.
Yeah.
That was a particular favorite. They were all good in their own way. But the reason I put this as number 1 is because Jim, for maybe those who don't know, works for an end user. So he works for an organization that runs Business Central. They do manufacturing, service management, right? They're building equipment.
Yeah.
So having the perspective of an end user on and someone who's willing to share like his organization's how they use Business Central, some of the issues they've had, and how they've navigated their way over this last 6 years in particular, going from a Dynamics NAV on-premise with all these custom objects and add-ons to Business Central Online over the course of 6 years. It's been, I think, a really fun kind of journey to watch.
For
and
me,
pretty typical.
It's been a lot of fun, right? Because like you said, they went from Nav on-premise, right, to Business Central on-premise and with objects. And then they went to Business Central with extensions on-premise. Yeah. And now they're going to the cloud.
Now
I mean, that's
all of that.
That is the full spectrum of what everybody aspires to do, let's say, right?
Yeah, and when you're a smaller organization, maybe you're not highly customized, you don't have a lot of apps or integrations, you can do all of those in one step. But there's a lot of companies out there, it's not that easy. No. You have a ton of multiple integrations, several apps or add-ons in there. You've got a lot of customization. Yeah. And feature changes across these versions that you cannot just do it in one step. So watching, how Jim and his team has approached it in these very well thought out stages to get there, I hope has been really interesting for everyone.
And plus for the partner, right? It hasn't been the easiest of things either, because people tend to forget when Microsoft introduces extensions and whatnot. We're not experts right off the bat. We have to kind of learn how everything goes together, how to build the extensions, how to whatever it may be. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So.
Yep. All right. Well, let's roll it along.
I got to do my top.
Oh, you got one? Oh,
hey,
sorry.
What are you doing here, man?
First.
Come on now. How many beers have you had? All right. So my number 1 episode is episode 1, the pilot episode, right? Because it's the first one. People don't realize it. Back then, we were recording podcasts off the memo on our iPhone. We didn't have a microphone or using a computer or Teams, whatever it may be. It was just off of the actual phone. So,
man, down and dirty, getting it done, finding a way.
Yeah, and it's always fun the first episode. You don't know like your flow segments. Everybody's a little nervous. How it's gonna go. So that to me, that's the most memorable episode, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, now we're ready to move on. We've got our third matchup coming up next. After which we will be sharing we're going to start drilling it down into smaller segments here. We're going to go our top 5 segments. Along with our next beer matchup. All right, here we go. The third matchup of the day. We've got beer from Alter Brewing, which is in Downers Grove, Illinois, called Popular Kid. This is an American pale ale, light golden in color with light to medium body and bright white foam, aroma dominated by tropical and citrus notes.
Yes, the aroma is definitely dominated by tropical and citrus notes.
It's good. Pale ale.
That's smoother than I thought. Isn't me or beer names like starting to get like horse names?
Crazy.
Popular Kid.
Crazier and crazier.
Yeah, like you're playing on it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some well, I mean, there's so many beers out there now, right? If you're creating a beer, that's why there's like horse, like you said, I think horse names is a really good comparison.
Yeah.
You have to have something that's unique.
Right.
Right. So
and
you gotta,
it's like everything's been done, right?
Come up with something that no one's ever done before.
This beer is really good looking. Like you said, it has a really white head. The flavor is pretty good. It's not as carbonated as I thought for sure. It has carbonation, but it's smooth. I don't know how to explain it.
Okay. My rating is in.
So is mine. We go to the next one first.
Yeah.
Let's get it down.
Yeah, we're gonna have to finish this.
Or do we do the top fives in between?
Yeah. Let's start us. Yeah, might as well, right? All right. So now we're kind of going from we're going from episodes to segments, and then we're gonna go. I'm gonna kind of give you a preview. After this next round, we're gonna go top 5 moments. So we're kind of narrowing it down here. So top 5 segments. So I'll start us off here, or unless you no,
I'll start off. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead for it.
Because Ken will forget me by the end of the segment.
That's why I was thinking maybe it's better that you go first.
All right. So top 5 segments. Number 5 for me, episode 23. Ken and I did an upgrade to Business Central role play. And what was memorable about this, and I know Ken's probably like, what'd you pick this garbage for, right? Is that it's one of the times on this show where I think you as well as me drank more than we probably should have. So the role play like went really smooth, but I've never listened to it to make sure that it has. I just remember doing the role play like, yeah, I'm doing pretty good here, and I don't know much about Business Central.
You were like super confident
Absolutely.
in yourself, like
absolutely.
Oh yeah, I got this.
Yeah,
no one can. I can kick anyone's ass.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I can play that. And usually, like, there's no tomorrow.
I'll fight you. Yeah, remember you tried to fight me towards the end of it. It got a little weird.
Yeah, the black eye stuck, Ken.
That's all right. That's all right.
For those of you who don't know, Ken's like a 5th grade black belt in Aikido.
I was gonna say, yeah, if Michael decided he wanted to fight me, I'd be running out of the room. The podcast would be over. I wouldn't stand a chance.
Never. All right, so, what about you? Who's number 5?
Yeah, so number 5 for me, it was an AI snack time segment that we had, where we got an opportunity to discuss all of the hilarious Google Gemini glitches and issues that were found when they released it. And specifically because I feel like legit, if they would have just hired me and you to sit in a room with a 6-pack, we could have done a better job of vetting Gemini to see if it was truly ready to be released.
Absolutely.
Like,
absolutely.
Who looked at this? Like, just insane.
We love engineers, but you guys don't get down to the nitty gritty with some things.
I hope some testers got their walking papers on that.
That was a really good segment. All right, for number 4, it's a segment that we did multiple times, so not one specific segment. In the early days, I used to do a speed round with our guests towards the end of the interview.
Yeah.
Where I'd ask them like off the wall questions. Do you believe in ghosts? Have you ever seen? I thought that was fun. So that's my number 4.
Yeah, that was funny. The looks on some people's faces.
Yeah, like, how does this apply to
yeah,
podcast,
like
right?
couldn't be more off the wall. Yeah, questions. That was great. I'm gonna go. All right, let me share one more, and then we'll go through these next beers here. So my number 4 on my list is Kenny Pontoppidan from Microsoft. product manager for Business Central, sharing with us some of the new Power BI and reporting features that people could look forward to and are now here, are now deployed on the current release. Also, a special shout out to Kenny. He helped me with one of my presentations in terms of some content for Power BI and reporting related. And he does a great job of sharing his knowledge on LinkedIn. So anyone, I would recommend linking up with Kenny or whatever the parlance.
Connect with him on LinkedIn and be sure to subscribe to his newsletter that he puts out. It's, he's very well versed in finance and analytics and all those things. But even one of his newsletters, he took us through like the thought process on how certain Business Central features came about. So yeah, that was really a memorable thing because it's right before the Microsoft release. What is it? Over 200 Power BI Business Central reports.
Yeah. Tons of good stuff out there. Nothing like we've seen before.
Yeah. All right. My number 3. Going back to the early days again, these segments were one of the most fun, and this was the Stump Ken segment. You remember the Stump Ken segment?
Yeah, you quit doing it. Why'd you quit doing that, Michael?
I don't know. I was never able to stump Ken. Even when I thought I was going to stump Ken with a trick question, it was a 50-50. He guessed it right. I went back and listened to him. So, but those are fun, right? Because I don't know a lot about Business Central, but Ken's a master at it, and it actually put on display his mastery at work.
I particularly enjoyed those because like some of them were truly like I just got lucky, and just like I guessed right.
Yeah.
But there was a couple where I feel like you put a lot of work into like trying to really stump.
Yeah, you damn right I did.
Like, and what was funny is like you weren't even done asking the question yet, and I already knew the answer. And it's like just you're like so proud of this question that you would come up
people,
with.
Right? Like, competitive, like I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him this time. He's not getting it.
Yeah,
wow, he got it every time.
Yeah,
you gotta go back and listen to the episode. I never was able to stump Ken.
Yeah, there was a couple of those.
And then Ken would every now and then do a stump Michael episode. I was like, for like 14.
Yeah, those are like taking candy from a baby.
They were.
All right. So next, before we finish our top 5 segments here, we need to get into our second beer. So in this matchup, so we have Around the Bend Brewery has a beer called Juice Trials.
Yeah.
So this is a hazy IPA, also known as a New England style APA.
Nice.
Actually out of Chicago, so not New England, but get some fun cans here. You commented on the cans that these beers come in. They're putting a lot of work into the design.
It has changed so much, especially over the past. I mean, even since we started doing the podcast. We would look every now and then, you'd see a pretty cool can. They're all trying to stick out now.
Yeah, there's a lot of artwork. Yeah. Some pretty cool stuff that goes into some of these things.
I get excited, and I don't know why, but I always get excited when the word juice is associated with beer. Now, I've never been wowed by it. I've probably been let down more often than not. But when I hear juice with beer, something in my head screams, this could be good.
In this one, their tagline is, how juicy can an IPA be? Let's find out.
All right.
So I hope this is pretty juicy.
No juice flavor, right?
Yeah. So
I smell. I get a little hint of pineapple. Maybe it's me.
I don't smell the juice as much. So, but let's take a little sip here.
My nose is bigger than yours.
It's not as sweet as I thought it would be.
Not even close.
Right? Like I've had a lot of like Deschutes
berry ice or something. Yeah.
Fresh Squeeze, I think, is the name of the beer. Much juicier. Even Bodum.
Yeah.
Is like a hazy IPA.
Yeah.
That's much juicier.
I do get a pineapple scent. It reminds me of like cottage cheese and peaches. I'll tell you what, this is going to be a hard round for me. This is a hard round. Oh, actually, no, I don't have to beat one or the other. I can give them the same score.
You MFer. I was just thinking the same exact thing.
I'm sorry. We're getting good.
You ruined it. Yeah. Now I can't. Now I feel like I can't give it the exact same score.
The exact same score. It doesn't matter.
Okay. I got one. Yeah. All right.
Man, so it's a difficult matchup, right?
I gotta be honest with you. I'm really surprised that I'm rating these what I'm rating them. Like I thought I was
Too
gonna
high,
be-
too low?
lower than I thought I would be rating, especially these two, like a hazy IPA and a pale
Oh,
ale.
that's right. Yeah, it's what you like.
These are what I typically drink. Maybe it's just like all these different beers washing together. All right.
Yeah.
So let's see who's moving on. We got Alter Brewing Popular Kid against Around the Bend Juice Trials.
All right. Want me to go first?
Sure.
All right. So Alter Brewing Company. What do we got here?
Popular Kid.
Popular Kid. Thank you. I gave it a 4.
Okay.
Looking back on it though, I might have went a little bit too high, but who knows? But yeah, I gave it a 4. I liked it. It was pretty good.
So I went 2.5
Oh,
stars, which is again lower than I expected
Yeah.
I was going to. And the reason is because it had it just I was it's a pale ale, like an American, supposed to be like an American pale ale.
yeah.
It didn't taste pale ale-ish
Oh,
to me.
see,
It was like
that-
more sour, kind of. So just in terms of that, I knocked it down a point. So we got 6.5 for Popular Kid. All right, what do you got for Juice
Juice
Trials?
Trials. I went with a solid 4.
Okay,
Um,
4 again.
but well, this is going to be interesting because did you go with the same score for the other one?
I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I didn't. I went 2 stars.
Oh, you went
For Juice
lower.
Trials, I went lower with this one because this
So
one,
Popular Kid is moving on.
Popular Kid, is moving on.
How do we do? Is this challenge flag one for the entire tournament or one per round?
One for the whole tournament, and only in the case of a tie.
Only in the case of a tie.
Yeah,
Oh, all right.
yeah.
Popular Kid's moving on or not?
So I got really lucky. In hindsight, we might have looked back and said, Ken, you should have used your challenge on the dovetail pills.
Yeah.
But I got lucky on the coin toss that it
Yeah.
ended up being that.
I probably would have used it on the Around the Bend Brewery for Juice Trials. I think that I rated Alter Popular Kid maybe a little bit too high, but you can't go back and change it.
Yeah. No, it's in the record book now. There's nothing you can do.
I like this Juice Trials. It's not bad.
Yeah.
You hated it.
All right. So where are we at? Have you done 3 of your top 5 segments already?
I have.
Okay, so I'm up then. So at number 3, my number 3 on the list is all of our release wave preview episodes. However, if I got a point, I got to stick with one. I'm going to say the ESPN style, what was the show?
PTI, pardon the interruption.
Pardon the interruption, where we had a 30-second buzzer
Yep.
ringing, and we had to get each feature in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So that was one of my favorites.
That was memorable. So my number 2 is shocking. Episode 64, the Pardon the Interruption PTI review of the 2024 Release Wave 2. That was fun. Going through it, thinking that this isn't going to be difficult to get these descriptions out in, I don't know if we did 15 or 30 seconds, whatever it was. And then hearing the buzzer from me all the time, not making it was a good time.
Yeah. All right. Number 2 on my list was, I don't know. Did I already talk about Soren Alexanderson? I feel like his name's come up a lot.
I think we did it for.
He joined us to share his perspectives as the Microsoft Principal Product Manager for AI and Business Central. I talked about the future of agents in Business Central.
Yeah.
And not only sharing like what people can expect out of them, but also some kind of behind the scenes, like talking about how, like, from a development perspective, you're not writing code where, A plus B equals C.
Right.
This is like, what if we do this? How does it react?
Yeah.
Right? It's like a whole new,
It's different. Yeah.
a whole new
Completely
world.
different, yeah.
in terms of like trying to figure out how do you release a product when you aren't 100% sure
Yeah.
what it's going to do. It's a whole new like paradigm of like development and testing and
Yeah,
how you
absolutely.
release something out there.
Yeah,
So I thought that was really interesting for me.
yeah, and he's an all around good guy, multifaceted, which was fascinating, right? He's in the band. He's skilled with AI. He's also skilled with he's got a background, I think, in programming. But yeah, very highly interesting. All right. My number one, and I put this here because this segment is probably the segment where I learned the most about, I guess, manufacturing on this podcast. It came in episode 25 where we did assembly orders versus production orders, and we did a feature deep dive. I learned a lot. We went through the whole realm of things. You know, why an organization would choose to be assembly or why they would choose manufacturing. You know what I mean?
Using Cronus Brewery
Yes, using Cronus Brewery.
as a hypothetical company that
Yes.
was running Business Central.
I remember. Yeah, absolutely. That was my number one segment. I
That
find
was
that
fun.
crazy interesting.
That was fun. I enjoyed kind of putting it all together with
And I think it coincided with maybe a speaking engagement you had coming up or whatever.
yeah, I led a segment at one of the user conferences on kind of the same similar thing. Actually, in the user conference, it was actually assembly orders versus production orders versus jobs.
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah.
Which is a whole nother, right, third wrinkle on there. All right. And my favorite segment was one in which we discussed best practices in Business Central implementations. Do you remember who was our special
featured guest on that episode?
Who was the featured guest on that, Michael?
Yeah, well, before I say who the featured guest was, that was actually our most popular episode. I think it was episode 59, if I'm not mistaken. But yes, the featured guest was Mr. Ken Sebahar.
At a special guest on my own podcast.
You wrote a book. Tell everybody what the book is.
Yeah, it was the Executive Guide to Implementing Accounting Software.
Yeah.
Actually wrote it in 2007, published it.
Can still be found on Amazon.
And actually on speakingbusinesscentral.com, I recently wrote a series of blog articles called Beyond the BC Bits, where I meant talk about a lot of these same concepts that are all still relevant today. Like, even though the technology in the last 18 years since I wrote that has drastically changed, the implementation concepts that we utilize are still the same, right? There's the approach and how to minimize the risk is still the same. And I picked this as my number one, not because of who the special guest was, but because I've been doing this for so long, my whole career. And anytime that I have an opportunity to share with others, like guidance and how you can possibly take some of the pain out of an ERP implementation project, I want to do it. So again, any opportunity, like how can you make it less painful? That's what I'm all about.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought, especially on this type of podcast where this is what we're talking about, right? ERP.
People loved it.
Implementation. Like you got to know there's some basic things that you can do from a big picture perspective up front that will significantly improve your chances of success.
Yeah.
And having a successful project. No one wants to stand behind an unsuccessful ERP implementation, right? That looks bad, right? So what can I do to make sure this goes well? Well, there are some things that you can do.
Yeah, and they're not crazy off the wall things, right? I mean, I don't want to give
it almost seems silly, like common sense, but if you don't do these types of projects every day, you don't realize it, or you don't how profound of an impact.
I think Ken should take that book, update it, the few things that need to be updated, and publish volume 2. I mean, come on, Ken, what are you waiting for here?
There you go. Maybe I'll have the time, huh?
There you go. Yeah.
All right, coming back, we have the final matchup of our first round here. So we're gonna have that coming up. So one more matchup. We got a red ale and a stout facing off. And then we're gonna also combine that with our top 5 moments.
Back for another round, and we've got, what do we got here? We got Pig Minds Brewing Southie Bitch Slap. It is what, 8%? What is it? 5.8% ABV. Not
Yep,
too bad.
an American red ale.
American red ale, which, judging by how much Ken poured in his drink, he's not a fan of American red ale.
Do I have to drink at least 1 ounce? Is that
I would say so.
is that
right?
one? Is that a rule?
Yeah, I mean, you're already giving it like a 1 star without even trying it.
All right, there we go.
There
There's an ounce and a half. How about
There you
that?
go. All
I
right,
can
this beer,
just smell. I can just smell that I don't like it.
it has a distinct smell to it. This is a horse blanket smell now.
Yeah,
Right?
right.
That's, yeah. If ever it was a horse blanket smell. Dark in color though. Dark caramel, I would say. Not a lot of head.
Do you detect notes of toffee, caramel with a hint of cherry?
Oh, look at that. We'll see. I'll tell you what, if it has those notes, this is going to be my favorite drink.
Finishes with a smooth medium body.
Here we go. Down the old edge.
That's an interesting flavor.
Yeah. I don't get those specific notes, but if you were to take all those and put it together, I guess I get that note. Right? Like I can't say, oh, I've got toffee or caramel, but if you put it together, like that's the note that I would get.
Yeah, it's like roasted malt, right? Like that's what I pick up. Like it's a really bready roasted malt flavor.
Yeah, it's got a unique taste to it. That's for sure. All right, let's score this guy.
Yeah. So okay. All right. And then next we have beer from the Brewing Project, which is in Chicago, called What the French. So while I go ahead and crack this open, why don't you tell people about the...
So this one, 9.5% alcohol ABV. This is in my wheelhouse. It's an American Imperial Stout with milk, sugar, cinnamon, maple, and vanilla.
Whoa.
Oh, you smell the alcohol or you smell
I
what?
smell the flavor. No, I expected 9.5%. I expected to smell the alcohol. I do not. I
Really?
smell the sweetness.
Really?
The sugar and the cinnamon maple. Maybe it's the maple. Smell that maple?
Oh, wow. Right off the bat, you smell the maple.
Yeah, the maple.
Oh, this could be good. This could be a good drink, Ken.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, you get maple right off the
This
bat.
is from Eau Claire, Wisconsin. It's up northern Wisconsin. An imperial stout. Imperial, I just interpret to mean ABV up the wazoo.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
This might be the best smelling beer I've ever smelled.
It is. It does smell
It smells
delicious.
really-
I was so shocked. Like this by far has surprised me the most in terms of just this aroma.
Oh my God.
The
Did you
aroma
try
of
it?
it. I'm a little afraid. Like I feel like when I drink it, I'm gonna be disappointed.
Yeah.
Like I just want to sit here and smell it for a while.
It's like pancakes on a Sunday morning, right?
I'm not sure if how great of a podcast that would be. Like just you and I just sitting here smelling our beer. We're not even drinking beer.
No,
Like I mean, what kind of podcast is it where it's two guys sitting around drinking beer, bullshitting, but not even drinking beer, but we're just sitting here smelling.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a market for it, but it's like waffles with maple syrup. Right, I'm gonna give it a shot.
Oh wow, that is tasty.
Oh, wow.
Holy moly.
That is
Cinnamon?
different. Yes. Lots of cinnamon.
This is one
This is
you have
shocking.
to love
This is
because
shocking. Oh,
you
this is
love
my
when
wheelhouse.
they say like that this tastes like cinnamon and maple and vanilla.
And it has the taste.
And you're
It
like,
has the
yes,
flavor.
yes, I
Usually it
taste
has
it.
none of those flavors.
Like
yes.
the last one said,
Mhm.
to me,
Coffee,
caramel and
caramel.
cherry.
No.
I didn't get that.
No.
But this one, man, I'm getting the sugar, cinnamon, and maple.
Yeah. I'm using
And vanilla?
I'm using the challenge flag in this one.
Bro, I don't think this is going to be close.
Yeah, in my opinion, that's the best beer that we've had, which is shocking. No, I mean, I guess not shocking, but all right. So you know what? It's fitting too that it's the last one.
It is. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought it was.
So I could give it a good score.
And I just want to show you how open-minded I am.
Yeah,
That
it's not your wheelhouse.
Probably assume that this would be my lowest score.
Absolutely.
A 9.5%
Yeah.
Imperial Stout.
I thought you were going to pour the 10 grams you poured before with the other one, this one.
So I'll go first. Pig Mines Brewing, Southie Bitch Slap. I'm giving 1.5 stars. It's like I've had red ales. I was way more excited. Like I like some red ales.
Yeah.
This one didn't do it for me.
No, I gave it a 2.0. I think horse blanket fits it well. Reminds me of being in a stable with a horse at 9 o'clock in the morning drinking beer that I don't like. So that's, yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Let's chalk it up to garbage.
Now on the what the French. This is my highest rating of the day.
Mine too.
4.5.
You gonna leave room for a different beer?
No, I just it's no, I want to, I mean,
Yeah. No, I get you.
We don't have, there was not one that was just like, I could drink this all day. That's 5. But I normally wouldn't even give this a 4.5 because I'm not sure.
You can't drink it
But
all day.
the surprise that I had, my expectations for an Imperial Stout and saying, oh, it's made with milk sugar and cinnamon and maple. Like usually that's
You get none of those notes.
BS, right?
I mean, even the smell alone.
But this
is to die
one
for.
nailed it. It smells delicious. Yeah, sorry, I'm not going 5, but 4.5. It's my highest score of the day.
Yeah. So I actually went 5 just because it's the last beer. I thought it was the best beer that we had so far. So I gave it a flat out 5. I don't see any other beers beating it. I mean, you're having a rough day.
Southie Bitch Slap just got its ass kicked.
Because his ass kicked bad.
So,
That was my lowest score of the whole
Yeah.
day. Was with you two.
lowest and highest.
Yeah, in the same one. Yeah, it had no chance.
No, I'm sorry, Pig Mines Brewing. Back to the drawing board.
Hey, finally.
So-
Who makes this?
This is the Brewing
Brewing
Project in Chicago, which, we were talking, like, so the Brewing Project, this is made at there's a place called the Chicago Pilot Brewing Company in Chicago. And what this is, it's kind of like an incubator, kind of they call it, where like, a couple guys have an idea, amateur brewers. They're like, I think I want to see if I got a viable product here. I think I got some good recipes, but you don't have all the supplies and equipment and infrastructure to do it. You can kind of go there and utilize their equipment and everything and the supply resources to kind of help grow craft breweries.
Yeah.
So that's where these guys
Yeah, I mean, this beer makes me want to try their other beers because it's one of the first beers, like you said, that taste how they say it actually tastes. You know what I mean?
Yep. No, I agree. Absolutely. All right. So
We've got our final four.
let's move on. We do have our final 4. We will preview that matchup, the matchups as we begin the next segment. But in the meantime, we've got to share our top 5 favorite moments
Man.
of the podcast. So, number 5, again, I kind of like to sometimes stretch the boundaries of these things
Yeah.
and go outside the box. So I'm guilty of that. in my number 5, which is my top 5 moments is not during any episode, but
Okay.
when I'm at an event or a conference and I'm just hanging out, maybe on the expo hall floor talking, and then like I'm in the middle of a conversation and someone goes, "Hey, you have the podcast." And it's just such a pleasure to know that people out there are benefiting, that this isn't just me and you like sitting down having fun together. That there's actually people out there that are like, "Oh no, I listen to it all the time. I get so much out of it." That's really fulfilling. It just makes me feel good to know that it's helping people. So I had to mention that.
Awesome. All right, my number 5 is from the Dynamics Communities episode we did with Bridget and Aaron from Dynamic Communities, and it's where I actually discovered something that I did not know about Ken, but the way that Ken phrased it, which I thought was funny. We were drinking hard cider, and everybody's like, "Oh, hard cider." I think maybe Bridget might have picked it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, apple, yeah.
Something, yeah. And Ken, it was like, "Yeah, I'm a hard cider virgin." And everybody, you're like, "What?" But I did not know that you had not had hard cider before it, but it was kind of funny.
No, it was delicious.
Pretty funny part
Yeah.
of that episode.
One of my favorite, my number 4 on my list is, I think, episode 1, but maybe it was episode 2. And we would do app spotlights, right? We would talk about some apps that were out there.
I remember.
And I think it was episode 1, and like I'm pretty sure there were 6 apps available. Like nothing.
Yeah,
like
absolutely nothing.
Like 6 apps out there. Like, all right, we had to talk about App Source and some of the apps that were out there. And it's just, I mean, in hindsight, comical.
Yeah. And none
that
of them
for several months that there was like 6 apps out there. I mean, there's over 6,000 now.
Yeah.
So it's just funny that it's like when we started this, there was literally nothing out there.
We spent like 20 minutes on an app. I can't remember, trying to see if we could get the map to pull up some address we put into it. And we're like, the map won't work. It didn't work. Yeah.
Didn't work. Yeah.
No, too funny. All right, number 4 for me. We kind of touched upon this earlier though, but was the from episode 9, the worst beer segment, where Ken and I both just ripped Trader Joe's provincial golden ale, or Provident, whatever, golden ale beer. We just ripped it apart. And at that time, my palate hadn't been developed at all. Ken's was developed. So for us to both say this is just garbage, it was bad.
It was,
put it that way.
And also, I think it's noteworthy to point out that it was actually someone that we knew.
Yes.
That provided it to us.
Yeah.
So
and said it was really good.
And so it was actually even harder for us to say that it was bad.
Yeah.
Because it was something like, "Oh, hey, you have a podcast. Oh, try this.
Yeah.
Here you go. Here's a 6-pack." So we're like, "Okay, free beer.
Yeah.
Let's do it."
Absolutely.
And
but we had to stay true.
Right? And we were always true. We were going to say what we feel. That's for sure. But I have to say thank you for bringing that in, because it's obviously made the top 5 list, right? It's part of the fabric.
Yeah, it definitely gets what's that award? The Raz Awards, the Riz Awards or something, where people like actors, they get these terrible awards when they do bad acting
for being
jobs.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. All right, my number 3 on the list is, and this is a little bit of like inside baseball, but we did an episode, I believe it was one of the episodes where Jim Geo joined us from Triangle Package Machinery, and Kim Simios, who works with us, decided to sit in the room as we were recording the episode, but did not want to participate in the episode. But then we got like several minutes into the episode, we're like midstream, mid-episode, and all of a sudden she starts blurting out stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like me, you, and Jim in the room, and all of a sudden there's this voice.
Yeah.
whose voice just changed?
Right.
Like, what's that? We had to like scramble to like go, oh, Kim,
Introduce her and everything.
you joined us. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
And then after the podcast, she's like, I told you guys I don't want to be part of it. Like, you talked.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You weren't supposed to talk.
Too funny. For my next one, I wish I would have found out what beer this was, but this is from episode 48. And we're talking about this beer, and I have to go and think that maybe we weren't big fans of it. And Ken had one of the most memorable beer lines on the show. He goes, most beers make you piss. This beer makes you shit.
It had to be one of your stouts.
It must have been. It must have been. Yeah, high sugar content or something. Hilarious stuff.
Yeah, one of your thick, dark stouts that you've foisted upon me.
It was great
over the years. Yeah. That was actually a tagline that we were in college going to submit as a Guinness in a Guinness competition. Guinness had a competition to come up with a new promotional tagline. Yeah, and that was one for Guinness. Most beers make you piss. Yeah. All right. Number 2 for me is, again, I'm kind of going outside the box a little bit, was actually a moment when I think it was not, again, I don't know the exact episode number, but we kind of revamped the music a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And the intro and everything. And the first time I actually like downloaded and listened to the finished recording, I was just like, that is effing awesome. I loved it. I just loved it.
That was based on your input, I remember. You were like, oh, 70s, 80s like vibe. But I remember you talking about it.
Yeah, the hard blues kind of music.
Yeah. We stuck with it.
Love it. Love it. So that moment when I first heard it and I had my headphones on, so I had good audio, good sound quality.
It just fit the vibe, right?
Yeah.
Nailed it. Yeah.
Loved it.
All right, number 2 for me. Actually, this one's about me. Episode 2, where I referred to the beer Fat Tire as Flat Tire throughout the whole show. I kept calling it Flat Tire. Which goes to show how much beer I drank back in the day, right?
That was great. By the way, it's Fat Tire.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, halfway through, you're like, you finally caught it. Like, did you say Flat Tire? I was like, yeah, why? What would I say?
Yeah, that's good. And my number one,
I think it's my number one, maybe.
Probably both of our number ones. We had Karen Brudvig, currently of SPS Commerce, joined us at the time, along with
Dave
Bolenbach. Yep. And they each brought in a beer. Karen brought in a gluten-free beer. Yeah. Which was the only gluten-free beer that we've had, I believe, on the show. It was a beer called Glutenberg. And actually, Glutenberg has multiple different varieties. There's like couple different, there's like a lager, a red.
Oh, really?
There's a couple different ones, but we drank a Glutenberg, and in as nice a way as you always find a way to do, you pointed out to her that the beer that she brought in tasted like, and I quote, garbage.
But in my defense, we just listened to it before. I was nice about it at first, and Karen decided to press me and say, well, what does it taste like, though?
You said, it has quite an interesting aftertaste. And she said, Michael, what would you say that aftertaste tastes like?
Yeah, I said garbage.
I mean, you press, right?
And everybody that laughed. It was pretty funny.
Put Michael in a corner.
Yeah.
Man, he's going to come out kicking.
Yeah. But it did, though. I mean, it really reminded me of garbage. Now, gluten, right, has no flavor, as I've been told. I don't know, but it wasn't.
That was interesting.
It was also my number one, so we don't have to revisit it.
All right, we're through the first round. We're next into the semifinals. We've got the top 4. They're going to face off to see who makes it to the finals. And we're also going to talk about our top 5 guests.
All right, people, we have made it to the semifinals. Thank God we didn't do 16 beers to start with, right?
Woo! This would have been a true marathon.
It was ridiculous. Yeah, I couldn't even tie my
And
shoe.
we might have not made it to the finals.
All right, so semifinals, first round matchup, or not first round, but semifinals, first matchup. We got Piperworks, Round of Margs against Dovetail Brewery Pills. For those of you who don't remember, the Piperworks Round of Margs was a
sour
beer. Yeah,
sour ale with key limes, oranges, and orange peel.
Yeah.
So
this
is the sour.
We've got a rule change. You want to inform everybody on the rule change?
Can't remember what the rule change was.
So if we score a beer and then we go to the next beer and we score that one, we can go back and change our score.
Oh yeah.
For the previous
so for this round, you're free. You can give like however many stars you want right now for this beer. You could say it's a half star or it's 5 stars or whatever. Like the previous round is like flushed down the toilet. We're starting fresh scores.
Yeah. Man, that beer just reminds me if you took like a normal Miller Lite beer and threw like a sour piece of candy in it, right? It's not strong, overpowering, but it just gives it that little bit of flavor. All right, I think my score is pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, what do we got next? We got the pills.
Now we've got
Dovetail Brewery Pills.
Dovetail Pills. So kind of a Pilsner, I guess. Trying to, figure it out.
Yeah, Ken's bias.
This is just good beer.
It's beer. It's just beer. But it's beer. It's bad though.
It's bad?
I mean, it's just beer. Like,
I don't know.
Compared to all the others, is that bad? Like,
you're saying there's unique character.
Yeah, there's nothing
kind of. There's no like. Yeah, I got you.
Does that hurt it?
Personality.
Yeah.
Like it lacks personality, is what you're saying. It's like it should just say beer on the label.
It's a shame. All right. All right, I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready too. And I'll make this real easy. I'm going to stick with my original scorings. So that would be 3 stars for Pipeworks Round of Margs and 4 stars for the Dovetail Pills.
You did 3 and 4?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So I did 3 for the Piperworks Round of Margs, and I did 2.5 for the Dovetail Brewery Pills, so a total score of 5.5. What did you give? You gave
6.5.
Sorry, Pipeworks a 6.5.
I gave Pipeworks a 3, so you gave it a 3, so that's 6. And Dovetail, I gave a 4 stars, and you gave 2.5.
So 6.5.
6.5.
Dovetail's moving on.
So Dovetail Pills moves on.
I'm kind of like hurting its score because it's just beer, right? I mean, in a sea of turtles, it's a shrimp.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll let everyone analyze that.
All right. So Dovetail moves on.
Yeah. So let's talk about our top 5 guests.
Oh.
We're going to kind of get into some redundancy here a little bit as we go, at least I am.
Yeah.
And
again, was hard.
Again, obviously, you can kind of tell one of my favorite guests was Soren Alexanderson. His name pops up again as number 5 on my list of top guests. He was a multi-episode guest.
It was.
Right? So he's joined us multiple times. So we had a multiple conversations about a lot of different things. And at least for me, our conversations were like so engaging that I felt like we could have just kept going and going and going and talking. We talked, like you said, between AI, Business Central, music. We got into discussion,
Yeah.
both of us, in terms of like music and how that impacts our lives.
He was super interesting. Yeah. I mean,
I,
everything from
I,
like
I
his wife's like leather creations to
yeah,
to
I really
his
wish we were like
vulnerabilities.
sitting in a bar,
Oh, we'd have a blast.
just drinking
We'd have a
beers,
blast. Oh,
hanging
it'd be
out.
great. Yeah, we'd have a blast.
So yeah, so he's my number 5.
All right. So looking at this, I should have did this differently, but 3 through number 8, I went a little bit deeper than 5
Yeah.
because 3 through 8 are all like our colleagues. You know what I mean? I thought it was so much fun having Simeon, Kirsten, Ryan, Deandra, Keith, Mark, all on the show with us to talk about their expertise and what they do. Everything from like Simeon was, permissions to security, Kirsten Power BI. Ryan brought in like integration experience. Deandra talked about the new sales experience, or whatever, yeah, for Business Central. Keith, cybersecurity. Mark, implementations. I mean, it was just an entire realm of like everything. You know what I mean? And everybody brought in.
Yeah.
So those are my 3 through 8 top guests. So
I like
jumped.
the out of the box.
Yeah, I probably should have did
methodology.
number 5 or 4 as like all SSI,
Mhm.
employees, or whatever, instead of listing them number.
All right,
down
so that was
below.
your 3 through 8. So I'll go 2 in a row here.
Yeah, go 2 in a row.
All right. So my number 4 is Deandra Wolf.
Yeah.
She, as you mentioned just now, she joined us to share insights on how to set up and utilize the new sales price list feature that had recently come out. And the reason that she's one of my top favorite guests is because she was so nervous
Oh, yeah.
when we started.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if she thought like, she was going to be in front of millions and millions of people. I mean, we do have a lot of listeners. That's true.
Yeah.
Across many, many countries. But she was just so nervous. But by the end of it, she was rolling and just crushing it, and like didn't want it to end.
Yeah.
And like, I wonder, what do you think changed? What do you think
Well,
happened
she
between the
brought in-
beginning
She brought
and
in
the
her
end?
favorite beer,
Oh, okay.
which was a really good beer, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that helps out. We recently had that experience too with Equisys.
Yeah.
Summer had to step out for a shot of.
Oh, yeah. By the end of it, Deandra, she was so fired up. She's like, "Let's go." What do you mean? That's it?
Yeah.
She was like just getting heated up. It was great. So I love that. All right. And then next I got number 3, Molly Fuschel.
Oh.
She gets kudos as I think one of our most energetic guests.
Absolutely.
And just a great time with her talking about the Business Central user community, the user conferences, and ways that users, like resources that they have at their disposal to help make their use of Business Central even better.
Yeah. Definitely one of the nicest people that I have ever virtually met, so to speak.
Yeah.
All right. Is it my turn? I think.
Yeah, go to number 2.
Number 2 happened to be your number 5, Soren Alexanderson. Loved having him on the show. Great guy, like we said, multifaceted, talked about everything, brought a wealth of knowledge. But it's just one of those guys where you just kind of want to sit down and have some beers and, spill your life story, and he'll spill his life story. You know what I mean? Like, it was just that type of connection between people. So
Yeah.
it was pretty cool.
Agreed completely. All right, my number 2 is Mike Morton. You were never able to secure Satya Nadella
Oh, damn.
on the podcast. I'm sure that it's
Turning the knife count.
black stain on your production history. But I will tell you, in my eyes, the general manager of Business Central for this podcast was the ultimate guest, because Mike Morton lived and breathed Business Central every day. Yeah. I'm not sure to what percentage of Satya's attention Business Central got. I guarantee you it was not as much as Mike Morton.
No,
so I think Mike Morton was the pinnacle that you achieved. So
that we achieved. We achieved it if we didn't, do this podcast. We weren't going to get him on the podcast. Yeah, he was definitely a good guest, brought a wealth of knowledge. He was a good sport too, because we tried to rib him a couple times saying, all right, if there's something you could kind of talk about that might be coming out but isn't coming out,
Yeah, we
let
tried.
us know.
We tried.
All right, my number one guest, Mr. Jim Geo. Uh, he's a customer of ours, an end user, all around good guy. Him and I also share an Italian heritage background, so we have fun talking about different things like that and ribbing each other and outside the show as well. Um, but yeah, just you know what, and he's his perspective is a little bit different than a lot of people that probably listen to the show, because not only does he have a background in IT, he also has a culinary background, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah.
So it was just it was a mosh pit of like things that makes him unique. Um, and like we said, all around good guy, loves Business Central, has probably one of the more famous quotes that I think out of all our guests, and he says something along the lines of, if Business Central or Nav is not doing it out of the box, should we be really doing it? We probably have to evaluate how we're doing things if it's not working the way Microsoft intends it to out of the box. Which I thought is kind of funny, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
But
it's a good perspective to have as at least ask that question.
yeah,
Right. And we're on the same page, Jim Geo. And again, I went with Jim just because, again, yeah, like you said, good guy, willing to share his own personal and company story with other users who
Yeah.
have hopefully been able to benefit in some way, from his being willing to share his time and energy with all of us.
yeah, and he's a recurring guest, and we go out to lunch, and he comes in for the podcast, so it's a little bit different than a lot of our guests. This is face to face, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, hey, he taught us about wine.
Did he? I mean,
Well, he taught us about the
he
streets.
tried to. He
He
tried.
tried. He tried.
He tried to.
It didn't work.
I don't know if it stuck very well for me.
No.
But
All things the
anyways,
same.
all right. So that's our top five guest list. All right. So we've got one more semifinal matchup coming up, as well as our top five apps and features. All right, we're now into the we have Dovetail Pills has earned its way into the championship match, and next we're going to be facing off Alter Brewing's Popular Kid against the brewing project What the French. So we're going to start with Alter Brewing's Popular Kid, which is an American Pale Ale. Flavor continues in kind with juicy notes of mango and pineapple, as well as citrusy lemon, and finishes semi-dry.
Now, I think Popular Kid would be the better matchup for Dovetail Brewery Pills.
Yeah, that would be a tough matchup.
That would be, yeah, it would be definitely a tough matchup.
Yep.
But I kind of know where we're getting with this beer. So I miss my mouth.
Popular Kid, we got, and last time, you know what? Yeah,
I gave it a low score last time.
Yeah, I did.
I don't know about you, but I did.
Yeah. Okay.
How did this move on?
This was
you didn't like the German beer last time.
Yep.
Brought
Yeah,
back
it was
flash-
6.5 to 6.
Brought back flashbacks to World War II.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. So I'm good there. And then I'm just gonna refresh my palate here a little bit with What the French, which is the Imperial Stout from
Actually,
Eau Claire, Wisconsin,
yeah.
with milk, sugar, cinnamon, maple,
I
and
actually
vanilla.
gave the Popular Kid. Which one are we doing right now? The Popular Kid.
Yep.
A little bit of a higher score than what I did last time.
Me too.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
Because as it warms a little bit, the flavors change.
Yeah. I don't know if it can compete against What the French though, but maybe as that warms, it got a little bit worse. The smell, though, this smell is something to die for on this beer. It is by far the best smelling beer I have ever smelled in my life.
Yeah.
Man,
All right.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready too.
This one's a lot closer than I thought.
Why don't you go first?
All right. So, Alter Brewing Popular Kid, previous round, I gave it a 4. Solid score. Solid score. This time, I gave it a 4.5. I think the flavor notes of it being maybe a little bit more warm and maybe just tasting the other beers. What makes it different compared to like the Dovetail Pills, it's got that actual beer flavor, but it has a uniqueness to it that the Dovetail Pills, or is it Dovetail Pills or maybe Dovetail Brewery Pills just doesn't have. So 4.5. Yeah, I'll tell you what, this is like the real semifinal match, like real finals matchup right here.
And what the French?
Oh, what the French? I thought you were gonna jump in. I still gotta go 5.0.
5.
I
Okay.
got you. Yeah, it's good.
All right. So I'm also going to increase my score for Popular Kid. I gave it 2.5 stars the first time. I'm going to give it 3 stars this time.
Ooh.
So it's kind of on par with a couple of these other ones that we've had earlier on. So that gives Popular Kid a total of 7.5. And I'm going to go a half a star lower.
Ooh,
So from 4.5 to 4.
still.
However, what the French
Yeah.
still is the victor at
I'm-
9 total.
I'm
stars.
shocked you're giving Alter Brewing Popular Kid such a low score. Right? What is this? This is 5.5% ABV.
Yeah,
It's a pale ale.
I know.
Golden, I mean, the color hits everything.
Yeah,
What is it?
It isn't. It
I would
isn't.
have guessed this is one of your favorite beers out of this group.
I thought it was going to be also, and
You got a cold? You got
I'm
the
like
flu?
I'm a little disappointed.
I can't believe I'm giving it a higher rating than you.
I don't know. There's other beers that it doesn't live up to the expectations that I had for it.
Oh,
You know,
I gotcha.
like you're saying, I expected deliciousness out of it,
Yeah.
and I'm not
So
getting it.
if you had to put this up against the Dovetail Brewery Pills, what would you take? I think that's a really good matchup for you anyway.
I still think the Dovetail.
Really? I would not have guessed that.
Mm.
I don't know, you can.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, we're gonna go. So this is our last top five, and then we'll have the finals and then our wrap up. So I'll go first here. Top 5 features apps, and I took my approach here. Top 5 apps or features, right, is what we went with here. And I decided to go with generally all standard Business Central features as opposed to like third-party apps from App Source. Mainly because, I mean, 2 reasons. One, it's a little tricky talking about some of the apps. We haven't covered specific apps in a while. And also the standard BC features are available to everyone. So I thought anyone can use these.
Makes sense.
So coming in at number 5 for me is a feature called recurring sales lines and recurring purchase lines. So, this was a specific feature that I wanted to mention because I think it's important to point some of these out because it's these small, relatively small functional features that really improve users' lives on a daily basis. Like a recurring purchase lines is like when I get an invoice from this vendor, it automatically creates the GL account lines and dimensions for me. So I don't have to enter them every time. So it's not quite Copilot agents, but I could enter one of these in probably about 15 seconds.
Nice.
If I got an invoice using these recurring lines feature.
Very nice, very nice. So my list makes up a little bit of both features as well as, maybe not. I guess it leans more towards the apps. So let's just go ahead and get into it. Number 5, this was hard for me to include some of the apps, you know what I mean? Because we don't use them a lot or so.
Yeah.
Number 5 for me, Datadoc's expenses app. Uh, I thought when we were looking over it, it was a really great phone app for like photo receipts, mileage tracking, reporting, and I really liked their customer expense portal that they had. And from what my notes from before was it installed pretty quickly, and it was very user friendly. Um,
Yeah.
so kind of on the opposite of what everybody knows Zetadox and Equus is for, but expense apps it was.
Yeah. Nice. My number 4 is the projects improvements. Projects, formerly jobs.
Yeah.
And this is really, they've done a lot of work over the last few releases, improving the functionality of projects and integration with other modules like warehouse management and replenishment. And we have a lot of our clients build like discrete items like machinery, equipment, devices, that where projects is kind of a required part of their business.
Yeah.
So it's great to see Microsoft adding functionality into the projects module.
Number 4 for me was, I'm not sure how popular it is now, but when we explored this app years ago, I thought it was an ingenious idea. It was something simple and easy to use, and it was something that everybody could use. It was Quick Learn, where it was the function where they added training materials like documentation videos to help you actually learn Business Central. It was so simple, but I thought it was such a genius idea because it was something that everybody could use. And the way it integrated with Business Central and how you can learn your things, I thought it was great.
Yep, definitely. I'm going to go with number 3, financial reporting improvements. And this includes both recent changes like renaming account schedules to financial reports and some of the functionality that they've added, as well as some of the upcoming functionality. Again, going outside the box, future features that we expect to be coming out soon, as well as the Power BI. So kind of financial reporting and Power BI. At my core, I am an accountant.
Absolutely.
Accounting and finance, like that's my background, my bread and butter. I love account schedules. I love financial reports and what you can do with it. I'm a huge fan. So I love that they're putting some investment into that.
Nice. Number 3 for me, also something that we explored a long time ago. I guess this is a common theme for the past 3. It's not as popular nowadays as it was at the time, but at the time, Clever Document. It was the Clever Document Links app. I loved it back then for its drag and drop functionality when basically no other app really existed with the functionality that it had, and it worked phenomenally well. This is going back in the beginning stages of Business Central with apps, where a lot of things didn't work.
2019, 2020.
Yeah. This is one of the first apps where it worked. You know what I mean? So it made a lasting impression on me.
Yeah. All right. Number 2 for me is the Business Central app. Just having
Mobile app or
having the entire product available as an app, like for Apple or Android devices. So on your phone or tablet, you have the full user experience. You can enter transactions, post transactions, run reports. Having all of that functionality available on any device at any time, anywhere, is game changing. Right, 100%. In terms of the accessibility to your data and information. So for me, that's the
no, it's a great pick, especially with companies being so mobile and people out in the field and doing whatever. Quick question, I don't know if you know the answer to this. I think I remember hearing that they discontinued the actual Business Central app for desktops that you could download in the Microsoft Store. You remember that? Where they had the actual, is that true? Do you know, was that discontinued? As opposed to accessing Business Central through a web browser, you could actually access it through.
No, I still have the Windows app.
Oh, do you?
Installed on my computer? I haven't opened it in a while. Well, you mean in the last couple months?
No, I was thinking last year.
Oh.
I think I heard so. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure about that. So the Windows version of the app.
Correct. Yeah. It just reminded me when you talked about the mobile app. All right, number 2 for me, now we're getting into some features, was the Microsoft Copilot integration for Business Central. It's showed some promise now with the agents that they've already integrated in. But I think the future is going to show a lot of promise, especially from what I'm hearing from Microsoft, where ERP is going to be autonomous and everybody's going to be using agents and AI or whatnot to kind of, do everything to automate everything. So, but I do think that Microsoft Copilot integration is good to use. I've actually gotten in there and into the Microsoft Copilot, uh, what do they call that? The experience where you actually can create agents or whatever. It's not as hard as a lot of people might think. You can get in there and create agent probably in 15, 20 minutes, a basic agent. So I think me personally, I know Ken might disagree, but I think that the future of Business Central is going to involve heavily Microsoft Copilot agents.
Sure.
I mean, we're seeing them now, right? The sales agent, the bookkeeping agent. I think I even saw another one that was going to be.
I mean, I've heard about those things.
Yeah. Well, in the last release wave, right? The sales agent, what it was going to be able to do with quoting and ordering.
Yeah, I've heard about those
Yeah.
things. Yeah. All right. My number one is extensions. The entire idea of how custom development gets done, moving from object-based where you're modifying the base objects to building extensions, and how Microsoft has done this transition and added features and functionalities, game-changing return on investment for customers and great value, right, for BC Online, where Microsoft manages your solution
And as well,
automatically updates for you. Just great technology, great execution, right? I mean, I don't know, people don't think about it, but the execution could have gone a lot differently in how Business Central Online gets deployed and then upgraded once extensions get done in those environments. And it's been really smooth and just a complete game changer for the ability to run on a cloud, SaaS environment, and still have updates being applied on a monthly basis.
No, I think game changer is the best word for it. I was a little skeptical at first, right? Like, what do you mean you can't modify the base code? What do you mean the upgrades are just going to happen and get pushed through without any change? Like, come on, everything's extension based now. Like, stop it. You guys are trying to follow the Apple model. It's never going to work like on your phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Little did we know, or little did I know, we were completely wrong. All right, number one for me, we're taking it back. And I'm actually a little bit disappointed that this feature has not been expanded upon as much as it should have been. The Microsoft Teams integration.
Mhm.
When this came out at first, I'm like, Teams is going to be the go-to for everything. You're never going to leave Teams, Outlook, Tasks, Duet, Business Central. Like, it's going to be the one-stop source for everything. And we even had Mike Silver on the podcast at the time, and I asked him, I was like, do you think Teams is going to be like your one-stop shop for everything where you just go there and that's kind of where you work out of all day? He's like, you know what? I think so. At the time, Mike Silver was a Microsoft's employee, but he's like, I could see that in the future. I can't say for sure, but I could absolutely see that in the future. So they came out with Microsoft Teams integration updates. I don't know, like back-to-back release waves, and then kaput, nothing, done and over. So, but I was on board with them. I really was.
Yeah, you were pretty excited when that came out.
I was. I really
can
was,
vouch for that. All right. Next, we have our final segment. We are going to have the championship round between Dovetail Pills and the Brewing Project's What the French. And we will also wrap it up with our final thoughts and conclusion. So let's do it. All right, for the championship match of the March Madness beer bracket, Business Central podcast style, we've got Dovetail Pills facing off against the Brewing Project, What the French. So let's start off with Dovetail Brewery's Pills. Again, not a Pilsner. I think it is
Yeah.
a Pilsner.
I think it's good to point out that the beers are slightly warmer than they have been, so flavor notes might be a little bit more, so taste could be.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah. And then we're facing off against again the French, which is a imperial stout, 9.5% ABV.
Did you think it was going to make it this far, Ken?
No, only if you gave it points. What I didn't expect was for me to give it so many points.
I've changed Ken.
I did think it was going to be a battle to see like which one of the IPAs made it. Like
Yeah.
if the IPAs made it more than the stouts, but
Yeah.
yeah, here we are. I'm ready to go. So I feel a little bit weird about doing this, but it is what it is. Right.
What do you mean?
I'm giving Dovetail Pills 4 stars out of 5 stars, which I believe is consistent with what I've given it over the course of this day.
Okay.
And
I'm giving it 3, so we're at 7.
Okay. And then I'm going to give What the French also 4 stars. So I'm giving them both the same score. Now, completely different, right? Like they're both 4 stars. The Pills is because I just like it. It's good beer, tastes good. The What the French I'm giving 4 because I feel like it's extraordinary in terms of all of the other stouts that we've drinking on the show that all seem to kind of taste the same.
Absolutely.
This one clearly with the maple and the sweet flavor rises above the rest. So it's still a tie for me, 4-4, for different reasons, but that's where I landed.
No, I'm right there with you. So I gave the Dovetail Pills a 3, and I'm gonna give the What the French score. I'm actually gonna drop it down a little bit to 4.5 from my past 2 rounds with 5. I liked it just a tad bit colder. Now, I mean, if we're getting picky, I'm just getting picky.
Yeah.
The flavor is still there. Like you said, though, for what it is a beer that smells like it tastes. It has the flavors that it claims to have. It is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, I gotta say it. Could you drink a lot of these on a hot summer day? No, you can't, right?
Perfect.
You could not. But if you want to have 1 or 2 beers of these, cold winter days, whatever it may be, pairing it with foods, pancakes, waffles, whatever, it's pretty darn good. I mean, it's shocking for a 9.5% alcohol. I don't taste a lot of alcohol.
Maybe like a pork roast and some potato dumplings.
Yeah, something heavy. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you get a lot of alcohol flavor from it. I don't get too much alcohol flavor.
No, I don't. Right. The sweetness and the maple, the flavors that are there, kind of overcome the alcohol, which at 9.5%, I expected it to taste
absolutely
like a strong beer, but it doesn't.
Yeah. No, you don't. Yeah.
So we have a winner. The Brewing Project's What the French question mark is the winner. So great.
Which is also shocking. A 9.5% beer alcohol. I mean, we would have battled it out. A high score for me, low score for you, but I would not have thought it would have advanced.
And landed at like an IPA or something.
Right.
But so this is an interesting result. But
crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
You got to give every beer a chance. Right?
Don't judge a beer by its can. Right?
All right, Michael, let's bring this home.
All right. Let's see here. Where are we at? Let's get this outro going. All right. Well, folks, here we are, the final episode. One last beer, one last conversation, and one last opportunity to be grateful for everything each of us has gotten out of this podcast, and also to say thank you to everyone who helps support this podcast. Over the years, we've shared laughs, knowledge, and countless beers, but none of it would have been possible without some amazing guests who brought their expertise, their stories, and their passion to the mic. So before we close the tap one last time, we would like to raise our glasses to every guest who made this show unforgettable.
Jim Geo for giving us real-world perspective of Business Central in action and explaining how it's fueled manufacturing excellence.
Mark Hike for walking us through the best practices and implementation strategy and the challenges companies often face when going live.
Mark Hamblin for showing us how warehousing, inventory management, and real logistics can be handled in Business Central.
Nirav Shah for diving deep into app development, custom solutions, and the power of extensions in Business Central.
Maria Tringali for teaching us that the art of sales tax compliance and how Avalara can make life easier for every BC user.
Mike Silver for sharing stories from Microsoft partner side of the fence, offering insight into partner relationships, customer success, and how Microsoft supports the entire Business Central community.
Stacy Lingenfelter for taking us into the world of promotional product sales and operations and how NAV and Business Central has helped their business grow and thrive over the years.
Bridget Cornea and Aaron Back for bringing the user community energy, sharing summit insights, and showing us the heart of user groups.
Keith Stefanski for opening our eyes to cybersecurity risks that exist and showing us how to protect Business Central environments from modern threats.
Mike Morton for pulling back the curtain from inside Microsoft, sharing the vision for Business Central's future, and giving us a peek behind the scenes at the product roadmap.
Deandra Wolf for breaking down Business Central's new pricing experience and helping us all understand how to navigate and leverage it.
Ryan McBee for showing us why payment processing and automation aren't just features, they're growth accelerators.
Ryan Sullivan for showing us how seamless integrations can unlock the potential of Business Central and extend its capabilities across platforms.
Karen Brudvig and Dave Bolenbach for joining us in person to deep dive into sales tax automation with Avalara and showing how to integrate tax solutions, simplify life for Business Central users.
Simeon White for guiding us through the complexities of user security and permissions in Business Central, making a tricky topic feel simple and manageable.
Martin Karlowicz for making visual scheduling exciting, powerful, and showing how it transforms production planning.
Molly Fuschel for sharing the heart of the Dynamics user group community and what it means for every BC user.
Kim Simios for joining us live, adding energy and bringing fresh eyes to Business Central conversations.
Soren Alexanderson for sharing Microsoft's vision from the front lines and what partners and users can expect.
Kirsten Zilis for unlocking the power of Power BI and showing us how data can tell the most important stories.
Summer Sandusky and Martin Nekev for explaining how AP automation and expense management apps are utilizing AI to change the game and provide us with a glimpse into the future.
Robert Hallberg for providing us with perspective on how banks and commercial lenders evaluate a company's ERP solution and what it means when they see that a solution like Business Central has been deployed.
Kenny Pontoppidan for making business intelligence and reporting and data-driven decision-making exciting and practical.
To each of you we mentioned, thank you for sharing your time and your knowledge. You didn't just appear on the show, you made it what it is. And just as important, we would like to thank everyone who listened and hopefully benefited in some small way, whether learning about the differences between Pilsners and lagers, or learning about the differences between assembly orders and production orders. From the first episode to these last cheers, thank you for being part of this journey. One last time, Ken, take us home.
Absolutely not, Michael. Bring it home with me.
Bye.
Bye.